Hey guys, Daniel here with Value Investing with Daniel. Thank you for tuning into this video. In this video, we're going to be discussing retirement and index funds. And we're going to be answering the question, how much money do you need to retire comfortably if you invest in index funds throughout your career? Unfortunately, on YouTube and on other social media platforms, index funds have been represented as a way to get rich. The truth of the matter is that index fund investing is very unlikely to allow you to become rich in the long run. That's not to say that it cannot be a vehicle towards a satisfactory retirement. It can, but the likelihood of you becoming rich on index fund investing alone is pretty low on a normal salary, and I'll show you why. So the truth is that if you invest in index funds, you will compound your money, and you will, be able to retire probably on a small but modest income. And we'll be going through the numbers today. So I'm assuming that you're making a normal salary, let's say $48,000 a year, and you're able to set aside 10% of your income every year, so $4,800, to invest for your retirement. So you're setting aside 10% of your income. It's growing at 9%, and we're saying you're doing this for 40 years. And then, basically you'll retire and you'll draw some money out basically over a 35-year period during your retirement. And what this is saying is that after 40 years, you'll be able to pull out about $153,000 per year in your retirement. Looking at more sort of simpler numbers here, if you contribute $4,800 a year for 40 years, it's growing at 9%, you'll be able to retire on $1.8 million. Sounds good. And this is saying now, in terms of pulling the money out over a 35-year period, you'll be able to pull out $150,000 or thereabouts. The problem with this is on something like $153,000 a year, in 40 years' time, like we're discussing, that the purchasing power of that money will be cut in half twice. Meaning, in today's dollars, that would be the equivalent on retiring on about $38,000 a year. That is by no means a good amount, in my opinion. I mean, depending if you have a house and so on and so forth, you're going to be budgeting pretty tight, and it probably won't be the retirement that you expected. So on a normal salary, investing in an index fund, if you start early enough, it will provide you with a very basic salary, but it will not make you rich. And the problem that I see in a lot of these YouTube videos is they're really pushing this number here. The fact that if you start investing in an index fund, let's say $4,800 a year for 40 years, you're going to be a millionaire when you retire. Yes, that is true, but it's not representative of the actual purchasing power that you'll have. Because on 1.8 million, like we say, that's basically the equivalent of, in today's dollars, retiring on $450,000, which probably is not enough, especially given that life expectancy is going up. So what is the solution? Really, we only have two options here. We have three options. One is to start contributing earlier, right? So if you start doing this for 50 years, meaning you possibly delay your retirement, you'll have substantially more money, let's say, right? So you can start earlier, but the thing is you can't go back in time. You cannot go back in time. So what this really winds up doing is pushing out your retirement even further. The second option would be, if we kept this number at 40 years, is to contribute more. Like, let's say you're able to contribute something like $10,000 a year. Well, now you'll retire with about $3.7 million in the bank. And again, if we look at the effect of inflation on this, that's the equivalent of retiring with about $1 million today. It's okay, it's not ideal, it's not that great, to be honest. And that's assuming you can contribute $10,000 a year towards this account and not pull out any money between now and your retirement. In terms of retirement income, if you're able to contribute $10,000 a year, you're looking at basically $300,000, $320,000 in today's money. But in the future, that would really only be worth about $80,000 a year in retirement income. Again, that is good. That's in today's dollars. It's good, but not probably, not rich. So this idea that you can get wealthy off of index funds, I think, is a little bit misleading. You can probably retire somewhat comfortably if you're able to contribute $10,000 a year for 40 years. you'd retire on about $80,000 a year in terms of income. So it's possibly a slightly comfortable and modest amount of money, but it's by no means really wealthy. The solution to this, like I say, is either to contribute more money or to increase this growth rate. And the way to increase the growth rate, obviously, is by increasing your investing skills and knowledge, by learning how to invest properly and trying to aim for something like a 15% annualized rate of return, which would give you a $3 million or $2.6 or $2.7 million retirement income, which in today's dollars, if we assume that our purchasing power will be cut in half twice over that period, which would be the equivalent of $675,000 in today's dollars in terms of your retirement income. So don't be misled into believing that index fund investing on a regular salary will make you rich. It won't. It will at best give you a small, modest income that will be barely livable. The only solution is to either make more money to put more money into it, or increase your investing skills, which will allow you to get a higher rate of return, but that wouldn't be using index funds. That would be investing in individual stocks, which you would have to learn how to do. So I'm not saying not to invest in index funds. I'm saying index funds are probably better than most alternatives for people, but don't be misled into believing that it's a way to become wealthy. Depending on your definition of wealth, if it's in line with most people's definition, you won't be close to that investing in index funds over a 40-year period. Like I say, if you're like most people, you're able to contribute, let's say, 10% of your income. That would be about $4,800 a year. It'd be delivering on average a 9% annualized rate of return. You'd be looking at an annual retirement income of $153,000 a year. But like I say, $153,000 in today's dollars is basically the equivalent of $38,000 a year, which is not particularly good for retirement, especially if you're talking about wealth and being wealthy and being able to live behind a legacy of some sort. So keep that in mind. Focus on that there are basically two solutions to this problem. One solution is to make more money, to be able to contribute more money into this account so that we have more when you retire. And the other thing would be to learn how to invest properly, because even on $48,000, $4,800, if you're able to deliver 20% annualized rate of returns, which is what something like Warren Buffett was able to do, then your annual retirement income would be about $7 million a year, which is like $1.25 million in today's dollars. And that's only being able to contribute $4,800 a year. So there are two solutions to the problem. Keep that in mind. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.